So, hello guys, how are we all? So, sorry, I'm just adjusting the volumes, and I forgot to put the camera thing on. I'm so sorry guys, I'm so disorganised today. You think you're prepared and plan everything, and then just all of a sudden, right at the last minute, you realise there's so much you haven't done. Okay, why is that not loading? The application's already running. I'm just being too quick, too impatient by the looks of things. Right, okie dokie. So let's bring an autofocus. Oh, there we go. We've already got the focus. Sorry, guys. So right. Wow. Okay. Do you know what? I normally have a copy of Twitch running on my mobile, which gives me like stats like viewers. They've actually updated the app, and now all sorts of things are happening. So it looks like I have 2 people have started hosting me. So big shout out to Atlantis Miniatures and Disembodied Toast and Battleground Games Live. It looks like they're hosting me. So hello to anyone watching me from there. So this is what we got up to last episode. This is going to be the last episode of this week, I'm afraid, because it's Friday. Some people like Friday, some people don't. There's our little tree stump. Now what I want to do, I haven't researched doing the moss yet. I did give it a go, and I didn't really come up with many results. However, I don't stream again till Monday. Or don't stream the forest troll again till Monday, my apologies. So hopefully I'll come up with something by then, but there's plenty I can be getting on with. And then what I thought I would do mainly today is I want to lighten up the inside of the wood, and I want to do the mushrooms. And the way I'm going to do those, this is part experiment. Why I've now got no music? Come on, music. Right, if anybody is listening, if anyone can tell me, I seem to have lots of people hosting me. So hello to Bobo T and Pizza and Brews. Thank you very much for the hosts. Right, so for those of you that are a bit confused by hosts, what you can do on Twitch is you can set your channel to host another channel, so that if anybody visits your channel, you give them the opportunity to see somebody else. So I have some great streamers that I have on what I call an auto host list. So if I'm not streaming, then anyone that comes to my channel will be able to see those other channels. And likewise, other people have obviously added me to their auto host list. So, and that's now come out really late. I'm really not doing very well today, am I? So I do apologise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the mushroom. I'm going to go over the inside of the wood with this tusk ivory. It's a light colour, a nice bright wood, and then I'm going to dull it down again with some wash to make it look used, old. And then I'm going to go over the mushrooms with this is the experimental part, Rakarth flesh, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the underside with Army Painter's Strong Tone. I might just dilute that down a bit, and I think it might need 2, maybe 3 coats. But over the top, I'm going to go multiple coats of brown wash, and then hopefully that will give me 2 different colours of mushroom. In fact, actually, I might do it the other way round. I can't remember which way round I've got to do it now. How bad is that? And then I'll look at doing these. I'm convinced now they're vines. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at I have some creeping vines by Games Workshop, So maybe we could have a look and see if we can incorporate some of those creeping vines into this model. So I'm going quite a big brush. It doesn't really matter because I know that I know that I'm not going to be able to get it exact, and I know that I'm going to have to go over the edges again with a dryad bark. Yeah, that's gone really loud now, hasn't it? In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just fast forward that towards the end of the song, because I want to see if it changes song okay. I seem to be having a bit of a problem. So I've done this tusk ivy rather thin, so I'm probably going to be needing 2, maybe 3 coats. Yeah, I'm going to need a lot of coats on that, aren't I? In fact, actually, I probably shouldn't be using this brush, because this brush is dead. My apologies, guys. So let's go. That's a little bit small for what I want. There we go. Let's go with my lovely Rosemary and Co brush. It's quite a large brush, but it has a beautiful point to it, so it makes painting a bit more precise. So there we go. I'm just going to go in the middle, and I think that by applying a dark wash to that, a dark brown wash, it's really going to bring out the details. It'll pool in some places and it'll show off details in others. Right. And this is just going to represent the inside, the actual woody part, not the bark. Equally, I could have done this bit first. And this part that's actually growing out of him, I'm gonna, oh, that was lucky. I'm gonna wash him a little bit more there, because that's just going to represent the dirt and grime that he's built up. It's not a good brush either, is it? I think I really need to condition my brushes, and I think I will just thicken this paint up a bit. It's acting more as a wash than a paint. Right, so while I'm doing that, I'll try and see if I can get some of these mushrooms done. And I'm going to use, I will use a small brush. This is a throgh. It's just going to enable me to oh, excuse me. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the music there, but I didn't seem to have too much luck with it. But it seems to have sorted itself out. Now, Rakarth Flesh is... Now, I've been saying for ages, I'm trying to get away from Games Workshop paints. For about 2 or 3 years, that was all I used, just Games Workshop paints. And I've become aware more that there's other paints out there. But I don't want to get rid of them altogether. I want to keep the ones that I like. I want to keep hold of, carry on using them more. The ones that I think that there's a better alternative, then obviously I'll use the better alternatives. Rakarth Flesh is one of those ones that I will probably keep hold of. It's a browny grey red, quite hard to describe, but it's got so much going on. It's because it's designed as a flesh colour. Obviously, it's got this warmness going through it. Right, I might just bring the camera down. I'm always trying to find the perfect. I think that's pretty good, isn't it? In fact, I might even zoom the camera in a little bit. Trouble is, if I zoom the camera in too much, it gives me less working area. Well, that was a lucky slip, wasn't it? So now we're at the point where we're starting to paint the little points of interest. So little things are starting to stand out. So obviously this is looking very bright at the moment. By the time we've applied a second coat and then applied all the washes, it will really start to look interesting. And of course it forces us to look very close and very carefully at the model, so we get to see all the features close up. And then I get to decide that little bit there, was that part of his skin or was it part of the mushroom? So, but I've got to keep the layers thin. The drawback with having the thin layers is obviously it means you've got to do an extra coat. Sometimes you have to do 3. This is actually a little bit thicker than I usually end up working with, and that's because I'm terrible at thinning paints and I tend to over thin them. But over thinning I think is fine. It just means that you have to just apply extra coats. So I'll work my way across the middle, picking out any bits of mushroom that I can find, and then I'll go back and I will then apply the washes. Sorry, I'll apply a second coat and then I will apply any washes that need doing, and we'll see how much I can get done in this 1 hour stream. But I think that once we've got these bits on, it will really add some interest to the figure. And then while I'm painting this, although I do say I like to focus just on the point that I'm painting, I am actually thinking about those little vines. Because I'm going very close, I'm thinking how complicated will they be? But what has started off looking like a very complicated model, I'm thinking is actually a lot much simpler than I thought it would be. So comes a little tricky bit here. Now quite often when you're doing base coats, it doesn't always matter if you slip over onto another part, because you can always tidy up later. But I like to try and stay neat, because A, it's practice. The more you paint and try to stay neat, the better you get at it. And secondly, if you don't overspill onto another area, you haven't got to take that time to tidy up, have you? There we go. So I think that's not one leg done. Now I must admit, if I had a say in designing this, I can't work out if that bit there is a mushroom or a piece of wood. But it's a mushroom now. Mushroom, toadstool, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, if I'd have had a say in designing this, I will confess that I would have done the legs separately, which would have given me a chance. That is definitely a mushroom because of the detail underneath. It would have been much easier to have done this leg and then glue it in extra afterwards. But hey, it is what it is, which is a saying that I've been saying a hell of a lot. But Now I don't know how long this is actually going to take to paint. I'm not a fast painter, but when I first started I thought, oh, we're looking at weeks. You know, 5 hours painting a week. Could be looking at 3, maybe 4 weeks. So many weeks that anyone who is following this build could potentially get completely and utterly bored of it. But I think I'm now starting to get to the stage where it's starting to look like there's not much to do. Right. So I think that's that. Oh. Now here's a difficult bit. We've got. Oh, sorry, I've been painting off camera. Right, we've got some bits there. And I can't decide if they're mushrooms or not. I think they're not. Right, so I think I'm going to try and work my way up on this leg. Oh, I've just remembered actually. I had another figure that I painted for somebody else. Love minis, how the devil are you? I'm trying to find the new perfect painting angle. This is a very small mushroom, obviously very early in the stages of growth. It does something, yeah, because you've got these little, they look like vines growing up his leg, and I can't tell if they're big bulbous bits of vines or if they're early stages of mushrooms, but I can always decide later on. So how are you? Have you enjoyed? Well, I'm an early streamer today, I'm afraid, because of work. You know, like I say, I think my cliche is becoming, it is what it is. But what I'm quite pleased with is now that I'm starting to pick out little details, I am starting to get to the stage where I'm starting to think, yeah, this isn't going to take as long as I first thought. Which is obviously good. And while I'm studying these mushrooms, I'm starting to pick up on other bits of detail. Artist interpretation always allowed. I do love this new update on the app. I will show you in a moment. Actually, it's pretty fantastic. It's actually split the screen in two, so I've got all the chat and all the activity feed, and it gives me all various facts. Can you believe I've had over 4,000 views on all of my videos? That seems an awful lot to me. So, but then again, I have been streaming for longer than I think I have. I keep thinking I've been streaming for 2 or 3 months, but it's probably closer to about 4 months. I know I've been on Twitch a long time. There are going to be bits where I'm painting and I can't show you because the body's getting in the way, for example, and I do apologise for that. This is going to be really, really hard when I come to watching it. But we're always out to push ourselves, aren't we? What's the point in painting the same thing over and over? Doing the same thing over and over is for things like jobs. But even my job, in that sense, has variety. Yes, I'm driving and picking up passengers and being funny to them, but I get to do it along different routes. So, if you want to call that variety. Oh. But actually, is it Germsy Wormsy? You've really raised a good point. I often say about, like for example, the other day I think I said if someone asks me, do you like my painting? My response will always be, do you like it? And what I'm trying to encourage by that is, if it's not a good model if you're not happy with it. And I have all of these, for want of a better expression, rules, and I don't always apply them to myself, which I suppose makes me a bit of a hypocrite. But yeah, so when I'm asking you, do you like that? Really what I should be saying is, I like that, or I'm not happy with that. Now this playlist that I'm playing, it's coming to the end of the list of songs. So if this isn't the last one, so if you liked what we were playing on Monday, you should enjoy the stream in about 5 minutes or less. So I'm looking for any of those. You always get that one mushroom that you can't find, or that one bit you can't find. That's what I'm looking for at the moment. I know he's going to be there somewhere. Like we had that little tree branch sticking out of his other shoulder. We didn't notice him for a few days, did we? So what's everyone been up to? I've been pushed towards another job. It's one of those jobs that I'm having to give it some thought, but it's got lots of big advantages, but it's also got some disadvantages. One of the reasons that it's funny, we have a lot of unhappy people at work at the moment. There's lots, not necessarily lots going on, but I know with all jobs you're always going to get some people, doesn't matter if you're the best job in the world, there's always going to be people that are unhappy. But there's a lot of legitimate complaints, and I love my job. I really do love my job, and I'm getting to the point now where people go, I'm like, no, I love my job, and they're like, no, because they know me as a joker, but they also know me as someone who loves their job. But they're getting to the point where they're saying, yeah, you can't be loving your job that much, so you must therefore be joking. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm being genuine. But it's getting harder and harder to like my job, because other people around me are kind of bringing me down, if that makes any sense. And the main reason I love my job is I've really got my personal life sorted out. I mean, I've got you guys every afternoon, and that really makes me happy. Tonight I'm doing every Friday on Twitch, Friday evening, we have what we now call Part Work Friday. My part works that come monthly, we do the unboxing and making, and we pick one part work every Friday. This is actually the last Friday of the month. I know that's not going to make sense. We do 3 part works, one on the first Friday, one on the second, one on the third. Is it the third? Can't be. Yeah, it can't be. It's do you know what? I know it's the 15th. It can't be. Oh, because this week the Thursday was on the 1st, wasn't it? Friday, sorry. 1st, 8th, 15th. Yeah, because the 15th. Sorry, this is going to go on YouTube, but it's not there yet. It's a single stream, which will be uploaded later on. So do I have to be careful what I say? Or can I use YouTube to promote my... Excuse me. Yeah, no, it's the dates have thrown me. To call the 15th the third week of the month seems odd. Right, I'm going a little bit higher on this mushroom because I want to have a little closer look at the mushroom below, so I haven't missed him out. So yeah, tonight we are going to be looking at the Harley Davidson, and in all fairness, oh, thank you Love Minis for the chair, that was very much appreciated. So tonight we're looking at the Harley, and I anticipate it might be a short stream, because the problem we have with the Harley, this is my only criticism, it's a beautiful model, really is, and I think everyone who's seen the bits would agree that the parts are crafted really lovely, but there's no building. We are just literally, here's some parts, now put them to one side and we'll look at them later. Next issue, here's some parts, now put them to one side. The only thing we've really done is in one of the editions we had some handlebars, we had some handlebar grips which we had to put onto the handlebars, and we got to look closely at the handlebar controls. Now once we start putting things together, it's going to be great. We're going to be putting the engine together, we're going to be putting the seat on, this, that and the other. But this month, I'm just going to give my brush a quick clean, because it's starting to feel a little bit clogged up. That's better. So yeah, this month it's 3 parts, and the first part, I've actually had to film the first part separately because I'm in a bit of a rush for the videos, but I will be showing the parts. But it is, again, it's one of those issues where you go, here's a part, now put it to one side, and then the third part's going to be like that. So I'm giving away my Twitch stream here, aren't I, for tonight? So now I've described tonight's stream, nobody needs to watch it. Yeah, so the third part is a little bit like, here's a part that you will recognise, now pop it in the box and keep it to one side. The second part, now that's the interesting one, so I won't tell you anything about it, but I can assure you it's going to be fabulous. However, I can't keep a 2-hour stream going on one part, so I think what's going to be happening is we will be doing a bit of a backup. We'll do the Harley, and then in your opinion, what would be a good model mini project for an intermediate painter but novice model builder? Asking, I love that expression, asking for a friend. It's like, what's the best way to get dead body smell out of the carpet? Asking for a friend. Right, the best intermediate painter, right, you tell me what you think is an intermediate painter is. Is it someone who's mastered the basic technique, or someone who's going beyond the basic techniques? But a novice novice model builder, I don't know. Are we talking airbrushing involved, or is it all going to be brushwork? because to be honest with you, I would, if you are intermediate anything, and even if you see a novice, I've just got the great, I've just got it. Experiencing a few techniques and painting mediums, but only built snap models. Right. Okay, so if you're an absolute beginner, maybe some of the start collecting boxes from Games Workshop. You get a variety of them, but get the newer kits, or maybe not the start collecting, but some of the newer models are absolutely fantastic because they fit so well. There's very little things like flash removal, but there's enough flash removal and tidying up that you have to do some. If you go in for the older kits, a lot of them don't fit and you have a lot of work to do on them, maybe lots of mould lines to remove, but the newer ones you will get some, and of course you always have the bonus that you've got a Games Workshop store nearby, and I've spent many an hour actually in the Games Workshop store painting and asking advice and not actually buying anything, and they don't have a problem with that. Painting techniques, see, what I actually had in mind is, I can actually get him because I did spot him. This is not finished, but this is an Astra Militarum tank that came with a start collecting box, and it's I would call it perhaps intermediate, basic to intermediate, because the actual techniques for building it are quite basic, but there's lots of them, which starts to push it into intermediate. And then painting it, right, would being in, you've got basic techniques, but you can perhaps push yourself, and then you've got maybe areas that you can start to perhaps practice glazes on. And then of course you can get into the realms of weathering. So that might be a good idea. Is there any particular subject that you like or dislike? So I tell you what, I've picked up a lot of projects before and I've just gone, oh, that's too much. And if you start thinking it's too much, you're just not going to finish the project. Or if you start having too many problems, I think this is why we end up with stash box issues. But I'll tell you what else is quite nice are those. Apparently they're bringing out a new box, new Age of Sigmar, but the old Age of Sigmar, the original, it's got some rather nice blood reavers on them, and I think that would be a great way to go, because you've got the support of lots of videos online. Right, fantasy model, well I would tend to push you into Age of Sigmar then. Basically for £65. Sorry, Jermsy, what country are you from? There's me talking pounds, and you might be from Japan or something and go, what's a pound? So, but basically for not an awful lot of money, you get quite a lot of models, and then of course you get those Stormcast. I'm not a fan of the Stormcast, but they're very good for absolute novice painters because they're so easy to do. Alright, okay, you're in the US, so if you look up, have you actually heard of Games, have you heard of Games Workshop? Might sound like a daft question to some, but there are people who haven't. And are you close enough to a Games Workshop for that to be relevant? Right, okay. So I would have a look at the Age of Sigmar set, and also look at some of their starter boxes. But they do like mini kits where you get just a few models. I think I've just painted a part of him that isn't actually a mushroom, but I think I've gone off again. So I think I've accidentally added interest to him. Although it does look a little bit like a bumhole. Oh, I heard a very good insult today. God wasted a perfectly good arsehole when he put teeth in your mouth. In fact, I'm hearing quite a lot of good insults. Yeah, that starter set for Age of Sigmar, it's just such good value for money. Even if I really disliked Games Workshop, if I was talking honestly to anyone, I would have to. I'd be a fool not to recommend it. I mean, I think we worked out that. What's that? Every model, yeah, yes, and they are so different. And oh, actually, that Korgoroth from it, that's really good because. So it's been a long time since I painted it. Let's see if I just happen to have one sitting around. No, I don't. I'll try and dig it out for another stream for you. But that Korgoroth is really good because at the time it was a new technique I did, which is applying a wash over a completely different colour. And what they'd done was you paint the skin red, and then the outer extremities you go over with a thin down like a purple, very thin, and then from the elbow down and the knee down you go over with another shade. So what you actually end up with is a red turning into a purple, and it looks absolutely amazing. And that's a technique I'd never really done before. Right, and maybe I should have done these mushrooms first. I've gone a little bit hasty. Okay, I managed to recover that a little bit, but so I'll make sure I do some black pin washing down there, and that'll cover that up. Yeah, I've got to be honest with you, since I've been getting into more miniatures, I'm coming out of touch with Games Workshop. So I've just found out today that the new general handbook is either out or is coming out. And although I don't play Age of Sigmar, I like that book because it gives you lots of ideas, and I'd like to see if things are becoming weaker or stronger in terms of points. Right, I've got a bit of a problem now. I found that I hadn't done the clean up there properly, and I still haven't. Right, so this is really starting to come now, isn't it? And I've still got the hair to paint. Don't really know what to do with the hair, but if push comes to shove and I can't come up with any good ideas, I can always do it black, because we haven't actually got much pure black on this model, so I've always got that room to put black on it. Oh no. Okay, I've just accidentally touched the inside of his ear. Which I didn't. Oh, he's really becoming interested now. Oh, sorry, did I miss... Ah, yes. Yes, do you know what? I actually forgot about that. Of course, having done all of this, I've got to do it all over again. I've got to do the second coat. I will confess, I don't know how many of my streams you guys have seen. This first coat will look a bit naff. A, because it's quite thinned down, and B, because base coats just do. But the second coat, this Rakarth flesh is really going to come alive. The red's going to start to pop through. Because I'm keeping the layers thin, hopefully the zenithal highlighting will show through still. Whew. Do you know, actually, I think the way I'm going, we're not actually going to get much more done than this base coat. I hope I can get the second layer of the inside of the wood done. So, question for you guys. If I don't get this finished in this stream, then obviously what that means is Monday, or I'm going to be doing exactly the same again. So Friday is pretty much going to be the same as Monday. Or the other way round, Monday's going to be the same as Friday. I don't know, whatever. Too bad, is it? Sorry, you know, I try and improve the angles, and then I look at it a bit later on and I think, no, that's not really that good. So, if I don't finish this, would you guys want to watch me do this all over again on Monday? Should I just do it off stream? Just a second coat of Rakarth flesh. If you tuned in on Monday, saw that the Rakarth flesh is already done, and I'm saying, okay, so I've applied 2 coats of Rakarth flesh. The first coat we applied on stream. How would you feel? You wouldn't be missing out on any chat, because obviously I'm chatting on the Monday stream. Do you think that would make it more interesting for people watching? You know, I wouldn't be doing anything that I hadn't already done on stream. Oh, I got caught on something. Gotta be careful. I must really start using latex gloves. So you can see I've got my fingers all over the model. Do what you must. Right, okay, Valkyrie wouldn't be bothered. Now, I just think, I mean, you don't know how long something takes until you actually get down to do it. And obviously this is quite an intricate bit. It's not like I can just get a massive base brush and go da-da-da-da-da. And I just think Monday might be the same again. And you know, if you were watching something on YouTube, how often do you actually go, do you know what, I really like that, I'll watch the whole thing from start to finish again, straight away? You know, do you ever get any box sets and go, yeah, let's watch the same episode before we move on to the next one? So, So I might just spend an hour Friday evening, or tonight, sorry, or maybe tomorrow. Right, I'm having a quick look. There's a part there that I can't decide if that's... I think that's muscle, but I'm just wondering if it's a mushroom starting to grow out of there. But I think it's muscle. I'm convinced it's muscle. So nothing else on his hands. Do you know, these little vines, they're almost snake-like. Right. I also want to try and do something different with fingernails and toenails. Right. Okay, so as I'm here then, still, I've got another quarter of an hour. Yeah. Do you know, Valkyrie, I love you and Love Minis. I absolutely love having you on stream. You're like my... you know when you've got great artists on TV, you like Bob Ross, and you know that he's doing all the work, but you've probably got a producer shouting his ear going, oh, that's great, but we love you when you do red. See if you can get a bit of red in there, and we need a few more happy little trees. That's how I feel. You're the ones just prompting me, and you know when I just said I think that might be a muscle, and I'm like, oh, what if it isn't a muscle? So just to have someone else on the stream saying, yeah, they think so, it just gives me a bit of relief. So I'm just having a quick mini break. I know, I've been working 45 minutes and I need a break already, but I've not had any of my coffee. You know, I think if I ever remembered to drink a coffee warm, I don't think I'd know what to do with it. I did make a lady laugh today about my coffee. I buy coffee from the shop, and I put it on the bus on the window ledge, and I position it all so it can't fall off. And this lady saw me getting it all ready. She's like, oh, go on, my dear. She goes, you drink your coffee. And I said, no. I said, I never buy a coffee for now. And she says, well, what do you mean? I said, well, look, I said, when I buy coffee, it's too hot for me to drink. So I said, I buy it now so I can drink it on my next layover. And she's like, oh, it'll be cold like by then, won't it? And I went, yeah, exactly as I'm used to. So this is still a little bit thin, this Tusk Ivory. So I'm going to have to put a third coat on. Do you know what? I can't even get any of it on my brush. Don't know what's going on. I'm not worried about going over, because I know I said earlier on about try and get it neat, and that kind of does apply. Oh, there's a snake. Can you see that snake in between the two stumps? This is why I like getting close up and personal with parts and models. So yeah, it's you know, I do try to get it all sorted out in neatly, and so I don't have to do any tidying up. But there's a lot of detail on this, and I seem to be struggling with it. But also, when you're tidying up with a darker paint, that's a lot easier. What is it Bob Ross used to say? You can put thin over thick, is it? I think he used to say. Or thick over thin. I don't know, I can't remember. Something like that. It was to do with the consistency of the paints. And what I like to stress is that you can put dark over light. To take it to extremes, everybody knows that if you prime in black and then you paint in white, you know you're not going to get good white coverage in one coat. But if you have a white primer and you paint in black, you probably still won't get good coverage in one coat, but you should certainly be able to do it in 2 coats. But white suffers from that double problem of you really need to over thin it because it goes chalky very easily, and secondly it just doesn't cover too well, so you probably find yourself doing many layers. So, oh God. So this is the point of the day where I'm mentally preparing myself for work, and it's going to be a hard job this afternoon because I have a bus route that I'm not too keen on. It has to be done, it's part of my job, but you don't have to like all of your routes. But then I had a route this morning that I do quite like. It's quite quiet. The bus that they have to use a specific bus. You can't have a double decker or a long single decker on these really tight urban routes, so you end up with the nice little light buses, and they're short wheelbases, and they're so much fun to drive, and the acceleration on them is pretty good actually. So if you're running a bit late and you've got no passengers on, you know what that means, don't you? Time to just pop your foot down just a little bit. Although they're introducing a new system, I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but it's called Green Road, and it measures your driving, how quick your acceleration is, how hard you hit the brakes, how hard you fly round corners. The basic principle is if you were to put a tennis ball inside a wok, you know, the big Chinese frying pans, and then you drive, when you turn to the left, the tennis ball is going to fly to the right, and turn to the right, it'll fly to the left, and if you hit the brakes really hard, the ball is going to fly forwards, and if you accelerate, it'll fly back. I don't have a problem with that actually, because I have the advantage that when I was a little bit younger, I worked for a company, a very small company that was owned by an individual rather than being owned by a big company. My music seems to have stopped, and he was very hot actually on good driving, and one of his managers, he does this training without you know he's training, and he got on my bus and I just thought he was going somewhere or another, and I didn't even notice it really, but he put a cup on the side, and it was 3/4 full with water, and I just thought that was his drink, and I didn't realise he was actually testing me, and not one single drop spilt, because obviously I was conscious of that cup there. So he had a bit of a debrief with me afterwards, and I said, well, I'll be honest with you, I did go a little bit carefully because I noticed you had that cup of drink there. And he says, right, he goes, I want you to pretend that cup of water is there all the time, even when it's not there. And that, I still remember that. And obviously there's always going to be times when you have to hit the brakes, and some of our buses you've got to accelerate quickly, and some of our junctions you have to. But on the whole, I think I'm going to do quite well out of that Green Road. If you are really interested, I will tell you, I get my weekly results emailed to me if you really want me to bore the death out of you. In fact, no, I'm going to tell you my results each week, because let's face it, if I get a bad result one week and I'm telling you my results, I've got to come on stream and say, oh guys, I'm officially a bad driver. So I think that could be a little bit more encouragement. but I'll tell you the colour codes rather than the actual scores. They do have red, green, red, yellow, green, and it's like, to get green you've got to be driving smoothly for, I think it's 70% of the time. Right, so that's all I'm going to go with there, and unfortunately I won't have time to do any more. It's a shame, because I'd just like to have just popped that little bit of shade in there, but sadly that's not going to happen. But excuse me, sorry, do you know what, I had a sweet chili chicken wrap this morning, which I shouldn't have had, because I'm supposed to be vegetarian on a Friday, but I just saw it there and I just like, yeah. But of course it's repeating on me, but then I call that punishment, because I'm vegetarian for religious reasons, and I've had a sweet chili chicken wrap and now it's repeating on me and I'm not hearing the end of it. So no sympathy please, that's karma. So inside, obviously you can't see it too well because it's not focused too well, but that's lighter because that's the inside wood bit, and the same with the two bits of wood sticking out there, one there, one there. It's looking very similar to the mushrooms at the moment. And there's the tree stumps. Now those tree stumps are probably going to be dirtied along with that bit a lot more. That might be, I might leave that bit a little bit fresher, and then off stream I will do more of the mushrooms. And I'm tending to go along the idea of these wooden plate. I keep concerning myself with these wooden bits. Just for the sake of argument, let's call them shin pads. But I'm thinking along the lines of just applying brown washes to them, make them look next on Top Gear. I like that comment. I'm thinking of doing them the same principle as when you do horns and teeth, where you shade them. So I might, in fact, actually at the weekend I might get some bits of sprue and I'll paint them up this colour, same way that we've done this, and then I'll just apply some washes, cerium sepia and the brown wash, and water them down and do lots and lots of thin layers, mixing the sepia. The sepia will bring the browns together, but the browns will colour it. No, I don't. No, they're not really. They look, because of the detail on it and the way that it goes, the thread, the detail goes up and down, very similar to wood. But it's definitely an up and downy. Whereas the leaves, I mean, these are definitely leaves. So that's really good. I kind of really spotted those this morning, and we have a paint for that, don't we, Love Minis? But I'm just not sure. I'm actually really loving those toenails. Do you see how I've dirtied up under the toenail and in the crevicey bit there? But I'm thinking about trying to lighten those up, because if you look at your own fingernails, they're a bit lighter because you've got like a white clear, it's almost like a clear piece of plastic over the skin. And then I'll sort the hair out. I really want to start working. I've got to sort his ear out. Actually, that's not awful. I might just pop a little tiny bit of thin wash down there. But that's where I missed, and I caught that with a Rakarth flesh. But I say it's not awful. So, right, I did see that Jan was online earlier, and that made me very excited, because I really like, is it Janine Vision? I did ask him once before, how do you pronounce it, and he just says, call me Jan. So, oh, thank you for the follow, Germsy Wormsy. I really do appreciate that. Right, Janine Vision is online, so I am offering you no option whatsoever. We are going to be following, we're going to be raiding him. So I think you'll all be quite happy anyway about that. Right, I've just gotta figure out how the hell you that's it. Genuine vision. Right, so raid is in progress. This channel is intended for mature audiences. So for those of you watching on Twitch, thank you very much for watching, and you're going to enjoy Genuine Vision. For those of you watching on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Obviously, you're not going to catch the next bit, which is the raid. So take care, guys. I love you all. Thank you for putting up with me. You take care and have a fantastic weekend. Oh, I'll see you on Monday an hour early. Oh no!